I'm Kristy Aasheim, a top producing agent in North Dakota, and this show is all about learning from the best. Top producers, brokerage owners, and industry experts who have faced the challenges, put in the work, and climbed to greatness. Whether you're looking to sharpen your skills, gain new strategies, or even get inspired by the journeys of top agents, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Welcome to the Inner Circle podcast. I am Kristy Aasheim, a top producing agent in North Dakota. I am here today with Jeff White. He is the broker owner of Capital Real Estate in Bismarck, North Dakota. He is a top producing agent and he has over a decade of experience. Welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So to start off, let's just hear about who you are. Who's Jeff behind the scenes?
Sure. To start, I am an associate broker. Our broker is Desiree Neither. She's very knowledgeable and a wonderful person and a great agent and an incredible broker. I do have my broker's license and have been a broker in the past, but at Capital Real Estate Partners, I'm the associate broker. Who am I? Father, husband, realtor, specifically in that order. I think a lot of real estate agents, we're all married to the job and we're all on call 24/7, but I have over the years really made sure that I have a work-life balance. And so who I am is quite literally in that order: father, husband, realtor. Always, I've managed to provide my family a wonderful life through real estate. But what I'm not is an agent that's available at midnight on any day. That's something I really pride myself on, Kristy, is just making sure that I'm able to be a good father and a good husband first. And then the realtor part follows that.
I 100% agree with you. I was a managing broker at one point in time too. And my biggest stress to agents is you will burn yourself out and you will burn your family out if you do that. You put that ahead of everything. And I do the same thing. Like there's a time that my phone can go off as much as it wants. I'm done. I am busy with my family, or it can wait till Monday. And people will accommodate your schedule. You have to tell them what your schedule is. You don't just say what's for you. You say, I have time available, this time available. If you lose a client because of it,
they weren't meant to be your client anyway. Yeah. And there's a lot. So there's some training we do in our office, right? What works for you best? Is it Monday or Wednesday? Okay, Wednesday, great. Is it morning or afternoon work better? And you dial it in and you make sure that you're not having an 8 p.m. on a Friday night listing appointment when you're supposed to have date night with your spouse. I think that's really important.
Right. And it actually just makes you more of a professional anyway. And I feel like I have never lost a client by having a good business life, like having a calendar, figuring it out, because I am not going to miss anything with my kids either. So I totally agree with you there. It's something that is a really hard lesson, I think, for a lot of real estate agents. So first off, where did you start real estate? How did you get into it? What made you go into real estate? We're talking probably 10 years ago, huh?
Sure. Yeah. 10 will be 11 years now in June. June 7th actually is when I got my license. June 6th, 2014, my first son was born and I got my license the day after he was born. And so before that, I was in the car business and I really liked it, but it was a grind and I was working 50, 60 hours a week. And I thought, you know what, I can't do this and have a great relationship with my son. Like I said, father, husband, realtor. That started before I started. Now there's definitely some things along the way to where I was a realtor first and then a husband and then a father. But as I've gotten better. So 10 years ago, almost 11 now, I got into real estate because my wife's grandfather was a developer. And he always said, you work too much. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? Get into real estate, get into real estate. He had passed before I got into real estate, but that's really what opened my eyes to real estate and what it could be, the life I could provide my family. And I think people think that when we say we have a flexible schedule, that we're just working whenever we show up 10:30 to 3 Monday through Thursday and we're good. That's certainly not the case. But as we just discussed, making sure that we set it up as such to where we do actually get to work the schedule that we want to work. And so, yeah, that's how I got started in real estate, was 11 years ago.
Yeah, absolutely. I did the same thing really in a weird way. But yeah, I love that I can set my schedule and we can do the things and we don't have to miss the games and trips and all the things that we can do, because we can work from a lot of places too, which is also helpful.
We can, but to be clear, and any of my clients out there watching this, I just want them to know, and anybody to know, that if the market is hot and I've got to work, I will absolutely work. If we have to be to that house and look at it and write a contract that night, and that means that we're up till 11 o'clock, then that's what it is. So that's not beyond me, or I will absolutely do that. But there still has to be some sort of balance.
Oh yeah, you just can't do it every single night. It's
For sure.
situational.
Absolutely.
Yep, 100%. I feel you. We want to make sure our clients know that we're not just 8 to 5ers, because we definitely aren't. I'm an early bird, and my clients know it. Clients that know that I respond at 6, I would rather respond at 6 than 10 at night.
For sure. Yeah.
I would say, where is your next level going in real estate? Where's the next change? I feel like I have to change every 2 years. I'm looking for my next item, my next thing to do. Where are you at right now, and what's your goal and growth right now?
Yeah. So right now, that's Capital Real Estate Partners. And that's where we just celebrated our first year in February. And right now we are growing our brokerage, where there's 10 of us total, including myself, my 2 partners, Desiree Neither and Nate Seifert. So we are growing that right now, but we are scaling at a point where, like, if you can fog a mirror, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're the right fit for our office. Culture is extremely important to us. I don't care if you're $100 million producer. If you're not a good person to the core, you're not the right fit for our office. And that's something, that is our ethos, and that's something we're not going to ever bend on. So right now, growing Capital Real Estate Partners and making sure that we have the absolute best brokerage in Bismarck-Mandan, that's the next step. And then we're really working hard and making sure that does happen.
That's wonderful. Yeah, a good team is core. You just have to have it. I know kind of our last brokerage, we all went our different ways, but we all core group together, and we still talk, and we still have meetups and chat about things. And you have to, you need somebody to speak with. There's sometimes hard transactions and things like that we have to just talk it out, I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Even more than that, if you have rifts in the office, not that they still can't happen. You can have 10 wonderful people, and it will still happen eventually if you do it long enough. But we just, at this point in time, I can teach you how to be a good realtor, but I can't teach you how to be a good person. And you have to have that first, and then the rest will follow. So that's really where we're going with our brokerage.
That's awesome. That's good. That's something new and different. I haven't had anybody say that in a long time. Just
For
say,
us, it isn't.
we're not here just to gain agents. We're here to make the best team we possibly can with the best humans we possibly can.
And that's just it. We're community driven. We want the people in our community to say, hey, you know what? Capital Real Estate Partners, every single person I see either on their website or I see in their advertising, their promotions, I know is a great person. And then we also have our standards when it comes to listings and stuff like that, to where they go every single time I see a Capital Real Estate Partners listing, it's top notch, without exception, ever. And if we can do that, then the rest will take care of itself.
Yep, that definitely is key. So with new agents, it sounds like you're going to try to bring on a whole bunch of new agents if you guys can, good ones. What is your tactic? Are you guys training as a group? Are you guys doing a team? How are you doing that with new agents, bringing them on, training them appropriately? Because I know that is a big thing. I know I wasn't probably trained accordingly back in the day. I was thrown into it. I was thrown into the wolves. And I know that was a thing when I was training agents, as well as making sure that was top notch. Like, you had everything covered. Otherwise, they couldn't be the best that they could be.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, we do have onboarding training, especially with all new rule changes. And you may have one broker that teaches it one way and another broker that, or maybe sees it one way, another broker that sees it another way. But when you come to our office, we want to make sure that we explain how we see the rule changes. We also want to make sure that they are very familiar with forms. So we have every Tuesday we have a meeting. Of course, our agents are independent contractors. They're not required to attend. That said, we have pretty much everybody at our meetings every Tuesday because we actually add value to our meetings. So we do that, and then we also have one-on-ones. We do a lot of role play. We make sure that our agents, when they sit across from a client, they are well versed enough to where they can actually converse in real estate and they can bring value to the table. And that's key, to where it isn't just our top producers that can do that, but every single person from our office able to sit down and know what they're talking about, for one, just in a general overview, but then really actually bring some value to the table. It's working. We're seeing our agents that maybe had done 6, 7, 8 deals in the past and have been here 6 months already have 6, 7, 8 deals under their belt because again, when they sit down across from somebody, they're really well versed and they're well trained and they know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. And that doesn't necessarily mean, hey, we're really salesy, where it's all about sales. That's definitely not it. But if you actually know what you're talking about and you can say that, and that person's, oh, wow, this guy knows what he's doing, they're more apt to actually just sign the contract with you right then.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Education is key. And if you can go through
Hmm.
I can go through a contract and rattle off what each section means in layman's terms, which you should. And
Yeah,
everyone
absolutely.
has to do that. And that takes time. It's learning. So those meetings are key. You have to go, you have to understand, you have to be able to talk to your seasoned agents about all that kind of stuff. So it's great that you guys are doing that for sure.
Yeah.
Are you seeing that with new agents? Because I see it more and more that they're teaming up as teams, or you guys not have any of that in your office right now?
We don't have any of that in our office. There are only a handful of teams in Bismarck-Mandan area. So I'm not seeing a lot of that. It's not in our office, no.
Okay. Okay. I've just seen it around. Just it's more common and more common than when I first started, which was
Yeah.
about years ago. Just one of those things. I'm just curious what people's perspective is on it. Definitely can be good and it definitely can be bad as well.
Yeah, you see a lot of teams that don't make it very long. And shout out to Denise and Amy and at the Better Homes and Garden in Bismarck-Mandan. They've been together like maybe 13 years now, and they're great. So it certainly can work.
Yeah, absolutely. I see a lot of husband and wife teams. Those tend to
Yeah,
be a little bit easier to navigate, I would say.
maybe from time to time. I don't know.
Working too much together too can be bad.
Yeah.
Let's say about best advice to a new agent. What would it be? What would your best absolute advice be to a new agent, whether they're coming to you or anybody? What would be your advice?
Do the right thing every time. Like even when nobody's looking. I promise. So what we see, and this is any real estate agent that is watching this or listening to this right now, they know that agent. There you go. You hear their name, you cringe a little bit, right? I promise you, if you just do the right thing every single time, without exception, the money will follow. Right? We're all in this to make money. We're all in this to provide for our families and all that stuff. But that would be the number one advice. Everything else will take a backseat to that.
Oh, absolutely. Yep. Be honest, be truthful, just be a good human and everything. And
Mhm.
everything else falls into place always.
For sure.
Okay, so I see you're writing the book.
Working on it. Yeah, I've been
Tell
working
me
on it for
about it.
quite some time now. So it really comes down to mindset, right? What is the mindset that's going to get a real estate agent to be a top producer and have a work-life balance? I don't know. I've said it over and over, like ad nauseum now. I think it's something that's really important to me. But how can I provide a good life for my family? And that good life includes time with their husband or time with their father. And the book that I'm working on right now, I have to dial it in just a little bit. It's about 100 pages. And so I'm trying to get that down because it goes through essentially like an operating system. Like, how can we go start here and then we funnel down to where at the very end you're dialed in? And so each chapter gives an overview of essentially my opinion through experience, not just rattling off garbage, but my opinion through experience. And then at the end of the chapter, it gives you steps to where you can actually do a self audit. Some of them are personal, some of them are business, but really do a self audit and look within yourself and say, am I doing the things that are going to help me get to where I want to be? And look, some people might say that's 12 deals a year. Some people may want to be $100 million producer. I think some of us want to be somewhere in between there. Again, really like, how can I provide an excellent life for my family and have that mindset where you don't? So that's what I'm working on right now. Let's just hope we get somewhere.
Yeah. No, that's a great book. And I think agents definitely do need it. I would say time management as an agent is a huge thing because we are
Mhm.
independent agents, no matter if you are in the office or you work from a home office, whatever you like to do. I find
Mhm.
that was the biggest struggle with training agents is their time and what they do with it. And even if you don't have a deal, then what should you be doing
Yeah.
to better?
Time blocking is a part of that.
Yep.
Time blocking. Like every day from this time to this time, I am returning emails or I'm returning phone calls or I'm making phone calls. I'm following up with current clients and past clients that have purchased or sold through you, and making sure that you time block, you actually run your business as a business and not a hobby, right? Sending 3 emails and making a social media post and calling it a day isn't going to work. It
No.
might, but it's probably not. And so that's really what it's about, is just making sure that of all facets of the real estate business, and then bleeding into your work-life balance and some personal stuff. Not really. I don't give my opinions on how you should live your life personally. I'm not telling everybody that, hey, become a vegetarian, do yoga, and make sure you abstain from alcohol and you get 10 hours of sleep a night. That's not what I'm saying. But what can you do within the real estate business, and what can you do personally? Some things to really, again, just provide an excellent life for your family and for yourself. There's some self-care in there as well, but still provide an excellent service to your clients and make money in the meantime.
Yeah. And I think if you are doing that, if you're taking care of yourself and taking care of your business, the clients all fall into place. Everything
100%.
falls into place when you're doing life properly to the best of your ability. Yeah. I'm excited to see it. So hopefully it'll come out.
It
And
will come out. When, I don't know. You can call me a perfectionist. Perhaps it'll be in 2025, perhaps it'll be in 2026, but I'd say within the next 12 to 18 months it'll be out.
awesome. I look forward to it. So you also are a co-host on Studio 701.
I
That's
am.
news channel, correct?
Yeah, that's on KX, which is the local CBS. And I do that 2, sometimes 3 days a week. And it's not a real estate segment. I'm actually, I host a morning show, which is crazy to me. It's not something I ever set out to do, but through real estate and through an online show, I guess you could call it, that I did called Bizman Bike Club, where value add, I thought, was to let people in our community know, hey, these are some locally owned restaurants that are really good. And in doing that, someone at the studio saw that and asked if I would be interested in hosting a morning show, which I've done. And to be honest, it's not something I ever thought I would do, but it's what I consider a lead driver right now. And I don't like to put it in those terms because it sounds very, it's business only and that's all I care about. That's certainly not the case. But yeah, it's a lead driver for me. I get phone calls and people feel like they know me already. They trust me. And those are like, that's what you do, right? How do I get someone to know me, like me, and trust me? If I can get all 3 of those before I ever walk in the door, that listing appointment or that buyer consultation is so much easier. And so that's something that I do, yeah, for that reason. But I also have a lot of fun. I get to meet a lot of great people that are guests on the show. And I work with some pretty incredible people as well, including Amber Schatz, who has been my co-host on that show since day one when we started about 5 years ago now.
Yeah, and you say lead drivers. That is completely true, though. Even
Mhm.
if you meet a stranger, or you're not meeting a stranger, usually you know their name. I do a little research. Who is this person? How can I
For
be their?
sure.
Oh, okay. We actually are cousins to the same people, or we're this, or we're that. Like we can find a connection. Once you find a connection, the whole vibe shifts with people when you're talking
For
to them.
sure.
Once you find that
Mhm.
connection, they trust you and it's easy. You're not
Mhm.
competing with anybody anymore. You're just,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, not a problem. Let's get that home listed. And talking about lead drivers, what are you telling your new agents when they come on? How to get leads right now? I think things
Sure.
changed since we first started. Where do you think
Yeah.
it is right now?
When I first started, I signed up for Realtor.com leads. I think it was $200 a month. And in my first full year, I closed 12 Realtor.com leads. So it was extremely valuable. And some of those people are still my clients. Today, excuse me, I haven't bought a lead in 6, 7 years now because I just don't feel the value is there. Now, that said, maybe it is for some people. So my thoughts are open houses actually work. That is a way for you to get in front of actual people. And if you can host that open house in such a way to where you can get people to know you, like you, and trust you in a short amount of time, you're going to end up with buyer clients. And that's where it starts, right? We all want to be listing agents. We all want to be able to sit in the office or sit at home or sit on the beach somewhere and you have people showing your listings and then you follow, right? Like we all want to do that. When
Yep.
you first start out, it's probably you're working with buyers mostly,
Oh,
and you're
absolutely.
probably working with first time home buyers mostly. And so that would be the number one piece of advice I would give a new agent is do open houses every single weekend. We have a guy in our office every single weekend. He does open houses He's been a realtor for less than a year. I think he has 3 closed sales right now. He just got a new listing, 2 new listings actually. Like it's picking up and you can see the momentum building. And the reason it is because he listened, for one, pat on the back, but he did open houses and he did some other stuff beyond that. But that's really his bread and butter, is getting in front of actual people that are maybe looking to buy and sell real estate.
Yeah, absolutely. And I find a lot of agents that'll go just tour houses and video it with them and just being on there, their voice is there, they're videoing themselves looking at these new homes because they can video any listing within their office and try to snag buyers from that. There's so many free things nowadays with social media too, that these agents definitely have a heads up than when I first started. Social media was there, but it wasn't like it is now. I don't think you can sell a house in a paper anymore. I
No.
don't feel like anybody looks at that. It's just not the same thing. So anyway, what else? What else do you have coming up? What's next in the next year or so besides the book? You have your morning show you do. Is there anything else on the radar?
Hopefully not. No, again,
Yeah.
it's really just making sure that I'm pulling my weight as one of the 3 owners of Capital Real Estate Partners, making sure that we get the ship off the ground and get to where we want to be. Now we're well on our way and we're there, but that's really all I have on my radar, is to not only continue to be a top producing agent, but also an owner in a brokerage that is the best in town. May not be the biggest, but certainly the best in town, and continue to have that work-life balance. So that's it. It's a daily exercise of making sure that we can do all of those things. So that's really all I have on my radar. What do you have on your radar, Kristy?
I want to continue with this podcast. I want it to grow
Mhm.
and change and develop, and I don't know where that's going. I'm always open to more and new. I think every 2 years is like my thing where I have to do something else. I have to add
Yeah.
one thing. I'm really into developing. I'm a landman by trade too. I was in the oil field.
Okay.
So I'd really like to start doing some builds of my own or something of that nature. I do a lot of investments and stuff. So I don't know. It's going to be in that realm, I think, next. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
Yeah.
see where it all goes. It takes longer than we think, just like your
For
book.
sure.
I don't know. Here it could be two.
It could be.
Yeah.
Like I said, I just want with that, I wanted to just add some value. But no, I think real estate is changing very quickly. And so I guess that's the other thing, just staying on top of the changes in our industry,
Right.
not only with rules, but forms in North Dakota and technology, and just making sure that we're always on top of it. We can pivot quickly and continue to evolve with real estate so that we continue to be the best brokerage in Bismarck-Mandan.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like you guys are doing great. So I got to ask one last question, and it's only
Mhm.
because I got to make sure agents know, like, we mess up and things don't always go great. So what is one story, could be from a listing appointment, could be from a showing, that just makes you cringe? Oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. Or maybe it was something hilarious that happened. Give
Oh
me-
man, I have a few. Boy, I can start with the cat that wouldn't let me out of the basement.
Oh, that's nice.
So this was a few years ago now in South Bismarck, and it was me and a young gentleman, and we went down to the basement. It was a black cat. It was a multi-level home, and I went down, and this cat did not like me. To be clear, I have a dog now, but I didn't have any animals at the time. I don't know why it didn't like me, but it was really scary, and it blocked the stairs. It wouldn't let me leave, and my client had to get between me and the cat, and I had to sneak up the stairs and run out of the house. And it was ready to get me. So there's that. Also, I walked in. Actually, you know what? I got a call. That's funny because the house was just on the market. I didn't list it because it was worth, at the time, this was 10 years ago, maybe 100,000. She wanted to list it for, I think, 195. I learned my lesson really early. Don't take every listing, right? Especially if you're 100% overpriced, you're just going to spend money that you don't have when you're a new agent. And so she gave me a call, and it was on Avenue C. I won't get into anything other than that. I knocked on the door for the listing appointment. I opened it, and she was in her, I don't know if is it a nightie? Is it a one piece that goes down above the knee, laying on the couch? This is smoking a cigarette. She was probably 65, maybe 70. And she was like, hey, I thought, what in the world did I get myself into? That was my very first listing appointment, was that. And my first buyer, the first time I wrote a contract, and this will be the last one. The first time I wrote a contract was with an agent in town who has since passed. I won't get into his name, but the very first contract I wrote was on a mobile home, cash buyer, wonderful lady. And I said, hey, I have an offer. I'd like to present it to you in person. He said, absolutely. That's fine. I'm on like the 7th floor at San. About what? He was in the hospital. He had aspirated some food. And so my very first deal that I ever presented was to this gentleman laying in a hospital. I was at his side next to him going over. And those are literally my first 2 experiences on a buy side, and on the list side were bananas. And I'm thinking, what in the world did I get myself into? Is it always going to be this weird?
Yes, I agree. When we first, because you're willing to take anything, you're hungry. So
For sure.
you take these crazy ones, you're like, oh my gosh. And then I've had one where I went to the basement. I didn't think I was going to get back out. I thought I might get murdered and be there forever. That's fine. I made it. I'm here. It's good.
Yeah.
No,
In all seriousness, you got to take precautions. I'm 6'5", 240. No one's done anything crazy like that to me. But in all seriousness, females in our industry, they got to be really aware and cognizant. You're in sometimes vacant houses with people you don't know. And so you just got to really be aware.
Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Thank you so much for joining today, Mike. Will you please just let everybody know where we can find you online and how we can get a hold of you?
Yeah, Capital Real Estate Partners, nd.com is our brokerage website. You can find me, Jeff White, Capital Real Estate Partners. Also, Jeff White Realtor on Instagram. Capital Real Estate Partners, we have a TikTok. So we're all over the place, all over social media. We try our best to stay on top of that. When all else fails, pick up the phone, call somebody. Instead of spending 3 hours to create content, you can spend 3 hours dialing and making those phone calls. And I promise it'll work out better.
Awesome. Okay. All done.
All right.
Super
Thanks, Kristy. Great talking to you.
Thank you. That's it for this episode of the Inner Circle podcast. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation and took away some valuable insights to help you along your real estate journey. If you found today's episode helpful, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop me a comment below with your biggest takeaway or any questions you might have. And if you know someone who would benefit from this conversation, share this episode with them. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time on the Inner Circle.